Hi everybody, Merry Christmas. December 25th, 2018. This is Kevin, Bear Creek Honey. That time of the year when it's holiday season. It's time to think about projects. Some of the things that I've been doing is researching queen rearing, a lot of that, watching a lot of videos. One of the most interesting things that I was looking at, because I'm trying to formulate a plan for next spring to raise queens, graft queens, and raise them. One of the problems that I ran into last year, real quick, was what I noticed was how hard it was to dig through a colony to try to find a frame of the right age brood larvae to graft from. And so you're digging around the colony, you're trying to find a frame of pollen, you're trying to find a frame of the right age brood, and it was a little difficult for that matter, and time consuming was the most part. So I was doing some research, and I stumbled upon a couple of videos talking about, they call them queen castles, but they're not necessarily. To me, a queen castle is a 10-frame Langstroth that's divided into 4 compartments, and you put a virgin in each one, and they go out, mate, and come back and start laying. Those you use to upgrade to a larger nuke later on. This is more of a queen breeding box, so I'm not going to use the term queen castle. I'm just going to call it what it is. It's a queen breeding box, and it's a system to get queen to lay on a specific frame, so you know exactly how old the frames are. Now this is a weekly process. You can't just set this up and decide one day that, yeah, this is the day I'm going to graft. You set it up on whatever day, it can be a Friday, it can be whatever day that you decide. You got to do it every week, and every week you're going to be doing it. This is set up for a 7-day turnaround. Most commercial beekeepers do this on a 5-day, because this is what they do for a living. I got a job. I can't be doing this, every 5 days. And not to mention, I don't need that many virgin queens. What I have extra, I'm hoping to just sell to local beekeepers in my club or whatever, virgins, hopefully. But so anyways, I stumbled upon this system, and what it is like I said, it's a weekly system where you move frames around. You have the queen laying on a specific frame every week, so that when you graft on day 5, your larvae are exactly at the right age to graft from. And it's a 10-frame Langstroth. Now I made this out of a medium box, okay? And essentially what it is obviously this is your 10-frame medium. It's got 3 frames on this side and 6 frames on this side. And the 10th frame is actually a queen excluder right down the middle. There was no video showing me how to make this, so I kind of had to make it on my own. I was looking around, and I had to actually zoom in on videos to try to see how they made it, because they never talked about how they made these things. Queen excluder. Let me grab my queen excluder real quick. A queen excluder fits obviously on the top of your hive, a standard one, and it is 16 1/4 by 19 7/8. That's your dimensions of your outer side of your box. Well, how do you get that to fit in this? And in the video that I looked at, they had cut the box actually in half, and they slid the queen excluder right down, and they combined the 2 halves and put a scab board on each side to join the box back together. I didn't like that, number one. Uh, Number two, the biggest issue with that was I couldn't use my this this brood box or this queen breeding box for anything else. I'm only going to be using this box from oh, you know, May through middle of June, um, and I'd like to be able to use it for as a super for honey in the fall. And, why not? I'm not a commercial guy. You know, Boxes, everything costs money, and I don't make any money from my doing my beekeeping. So this is a hobby. So I want to multi-purpose my equipment as much as possible. You saw my video the other day where I did a bottom box, top box, and then I had a little bit left over to do a couple of honey supers, and I made the honey super, and that's actually the box that you're sitting here talking about right now. But I want to keep it as a honey super. The bottom box I made dual purpose. You could flip over and use it for a double 2-frame nuke or double 4-frame nuke if you so choose. And you can flip it over and use it just as a standard bottom box. So, like I said, multi-purpose is good. So that's how I went into this project. So what I had to do was devise something that I could slide in and out, just like a frame. And what I came up with, and another thing is that how do I maximize this? Obviously, if I use it this way, then I gotta cut a lot of this off, and then now I got all these dangling pieces right here, and man, having dangling pieces is not a good idea. So I was looking at it this way. Well, this is only 16 1/4 inches, and the inside dimension of the inside of the box is 18 1/4. So I thought about it, and I said, well, geez, if I made the sides of my frame wide enough, I don't have to do any cutting on this queen excluder. I can actually just slide this in, and it'll be good. Now, metal is wider than the plastic ones that they sell, and I also didn't want to monkey around with dadoing out too much. But a plastic one is exactly the width of a blade on your table saw. So I don't have to monkey around with the dado. I can just cut a groove in with my blade and use a plastic queen excluder instead. So that's what I did. Not to mention, plastic is cheaper to use. I had bought a few of these, and I just never got around to using them. And I said, well, what the hell? And not only that, I cut this thing down, and you can tell I've already cut a section of this off, but I can make this enough for 3 boxes of the mediums. I can also use this as a deep as well if I so chose. But I wanted to show you real quick here. This is my frame that I built. This is my queen excluder frame. Okay. Now, if you look, I've got a top rail with a 3/8 inch lip on each end, side rails, and like I said, because the side rails, the queen excluder was too narrow, I had to make these to make up for that distance, that gap. So I made these 1.5 inches wide each. The sides are, like I said, it's an inch. This right here, a frame, standard frame, is 1 1/8 inches. So that's what I made the dimension of my of my top rail and the bottom rail. The sides, I made that the dimension of the box itself, from the bottom of the rest to the bottom of the box. It was, I think, 6 inches, I think, on the money. Now, I also made the bottom rail 3/4 of an inch, and that that will fill the gap for your bottom box. So this, if you were to look as this sits in, in a box, this part right here, your bottom rail, would actually hang down, and it hangs down 3/4 of an inch, and that fills your gap for your bottom, and that in essence is your queen excluder. Like I said, if you can see the profile on the edge there, I just cut a groove 1 blade width on the top, bottom, and sides. The sides have a deeper groove than the top and bottom. Top and bottom only 3/8. The sides were a little bit longer because it just worked out that way. But this fits perfect and fills the entire gap. Ugh. Well, there we go. Okay. And it also stays flush on the top. I made the top rail 5/8 of an inch, and that is the depth of your rest. Your frames normally have a little gap on top for B space. We want no B space because we do not want to keep the queen. We do not want the queen to cross over. Now, if you don't know, if you've never heard of these before, the intent of this is based on a 7-day schedule. You have a frame here, week 1, week 2, week 3. On this side, you have a pollen frame, you have a week 4 frame, you have a foundation frame for building out. No, it's not drawn out, just a foundation frame. You have a week 5 frame. You have a nectar and pollen frame, or nectar and honey frame, and a pure honey frame right here. So that's your 6 on this side and your 3 on the other. This is week 1, week 2, week 3, and this will go week 4 and then week 5. When you come up to your hive, you will be removing your week 3 frame. This will be fully drawn brood, capped, fully drawn brood. This one will be half capped brood or some capped brood, and this will slide over to week 3 position. Your week 1 target, you will graft from it, and then you will slide it over to week 2. So that's how that goes. Now in your hand here, you have your old week 3 frame, and you're going to go ahead, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull out your week 5 frame, and that is actually going to go with you. So you're taking that out. You're going to slide you're going to take your week 4 frame, your old week 4, and you're going to slide it into the week 5 position. Okay? And then you're going to take your week 3, your old week 3, this will be week 4, and you're going to slide it into the week 4 position. And then you're going to check each time. Do they have it? Are they bringing enough pollen? Do they have enough pollen? You're going to have to maintain that. You're also going to check, do they have enough honey stores in these 2 frames? You're also going to take this frame right here. Now this is empty foundation, okay? But they have spent a week drawing this out. You want that. You want them producing wax all the time. You're going to either take this with you, or if there's nothing in it, you can move it over and slide it, and this can be, you can take it with you. and then bring it back. And this can become your new target. And you're going to slide that over there, and that'll be fully drawn comb. Empty, fully drawn comb. This is what you want in this position. So if this one doesn't have anything in it, but just they're just building comb, and you can take it and slide it over here. But best to take it with you and just put fully drawn comb in this position, and that will be where your queen will start laying. This one has last week's brood in it. This one gets fully capped, and so the queen moves over into this frame and she starts laying again. The bees are able to traverse through the queen excluder. The queen cannot go over to this side. You will then come back and you will bring out a brand new frame of foundation, not draw it out, and you will slide it into this position, and it can be, you know, foundationless with a starter strip. But this will keep the bees busy building comb. Okay, and that's pretty much the system of doing that, and the system is essentially so that this frame right here, when you come on, now you come on Friday and you're moving these around, you come and this is now a graftable frame. You know the age, and they're not old brood on here. That's the whole design of this system. This box is not for breeding. It's not for, it's not for, it's mating. It's not for honey production. It's not for building massive amounts of brood. This is going to be a weaker frame, so you're going to want to, your entrance is going to be reduced as small as you can get it. And if you want to put a robber screen on, you can. I've got this top cloth on, and this will separate so when you're working on it, the queen can't transfer or move over to this side. You can do 2 wooden top covers if you so choose. It's completely up to you. This will have a hole cut into it so that your top cover can fit on. All right, and then you can put a feeder on top, and you're always going to want to feed them. You're always going to want to have sugar syrup on them that they can access, and because you want to keep them making that comb and keep them, keep them busy and keep that queen producing brood. Making sure that pollen is there is also that frame of pollen is also has plenty of pollen. When there's no pollen, you're not going to be producing any brood for you. So that's the important thing. But I have never done this before. Okay, I'm just putting this out there. This video was just about how I built this box, and again, like I said, now I can come after I'm done with my queen rearing. I can pull these frames out. I can stick those in a nuke, I can make up a nuke for it, and I can just turn this hive into a working hive and just let them go for the winter, and that's fine too. Or I can pull all these frames out and use this box as a honey super in the fall. So it's really up to you. This frame here is, like I said, I looked around for a lot of videos. Nobody had anything like this. So I guess this is an original, at least for me. I mean, this is what I'm doing. It should work based on what I've seen. I'm really excited to try this out this spring and see how this works. Again, I have all my brood, or all my boxes are deeps for all my brood boxes, but for what we're doing here and for grafting, you don't have you don't have to take up a deep. This can be a smaller, medium honey super to use. But I hope this gives you an idea, some ideas if you are considering queen rearing or grafting, I should say. And if you got any questions on how I did it, please feel free to shoot them forward. I'm happy to talk about it. This is untested. Like I said, I've never really grafted before. I'm just planning for the spring. That's really what this is. This is just projects to plan for the spring. This is more about how I built my queen excluder for this box than it is trying to describe how this system works. I urge you to go take a look at Michael Palmer's channel, and he's got a video on how he uses his. He calls it a queen castle. Billy Davis also has a video out on his queen castle. I'm calling this a queen breeding box. That's it. That's the only difference. But to get a better understanding of how these work, I'll put links to both videos in your in the show notes, and just go and take a look there. So again, if you got any questions, put me a comment below. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, and I hope you subscribe. And I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas.